Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby CoolDaddySlickBreeze, and I have with me again Eric Oakley. Is that good?
Yes.
Is it? Okay, thank you.
yes, it's good.
And Robert Topographical McCall.
That's me.
If you're not watching, if you're not watching the live feed, he has a shirt that looks like Georgia. So
I'm just that's not true.
If you're flying over Georgia, this is what his shirt would look like.
That is entirely untrue. But
they'll never know if they're listening to this on the podcast. So
yeah, but envision that if you will, please. And I'm
cutting Phyllis's head off with a chainsaw.
Dude, excellent.
Thank you.
So we are back again. Now, last time we were live on Facebook. This time we are live on YouTube. Finally got the YouTube ready to go up and going. And we're working slowly to get things working and doing great. Hopefully you're enjoying the audio podcast. Hopefully you are enjoying the DeGam dailies and the interviews. I have an interview coming up with Hannah Macbeth and Drew Gibson, as well as a gentleman named Phil. I'm not even going to try his last name right now until I talk to him and figure out what it is. But he is an up-and-comer as far as getting out on the road and doing some touring. And I want to ask him a bunch of questions because I know a lot of times we get that question, what does it take to become a pro touring disc golfer? And so I want to get his take on what he has been doing and what he's going to do in 2022 to prepare for that. And I think a lot of you will get some valuable information on that. So I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you're subscribed. That will not be on the YouTubes. That will only be on the audio. So make sure you subscribe there to get that. Also want to thank Door Disc for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate their support. And then if you as the listener or the viewer want to support the show, make sure you go to patreon.com/DGAM and maybe throw us a few bucks and we can buy some tacos with that. That'd be much appreciated.
Let's go,
dude.
Especially some Torchy's tacos. You are interested in some Torchy's?
We need to have so much closer to a Torchy's than I used to. Like, there's one it's like 12 minutes from here.
That's awesome. It's like many hours from
multiple
where I'm at
hours
now, and still many hours from where I live.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you went out to one, Robert?
2 days ago.
Unfair.
He's just a smart man.
Unfair advantage. So what was it? Anybody play any disc golf this weekend? I mean, we know Eric did.
I did.
Right? Did you play disc golf, Robert?
This is 2 weekends in a row that I played disc golf, guys.
Nice.
It was awesome. I went to.
Nice.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. My Shay and Owen were out of town. They were seeing an old friend of Shay's, and so I was living the bachelor life for the weekend. And a guy that I had talked to a little bit on Instagram, we had a mutual connection. He just said, "Hey, I'm going to go out and play at Met Center. Do you want to go play?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got nothing else to do." So we went out and it was a blast. We had a good time. I didn't play that great. I parred the first 7 or 8 in a row, but a few birdies here and there, a couple bogeys as per usual. It was a good time though. I threw the Rive a lot. I hadn't thrown those before. They're pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah,
it's a very good mold.
Mm-hmm.
Very good mold.
Yeah, even for a noodle like me, it still gets some good distance. It's not so overstable that it just dumps out, but it's not prone to flipping either. It's good.
Yeah, I didn't see much difference between that and a Raider when I was testing it, but I have seen Tristan Tanner to Emerson Keith to a lot of guys. Connor O'Reilly throws them well too. It's just that they're able to put some good moves on it. And again, I have enforcers, I have Raiders, that it's just hard to put a mold like that in, but definitely intrigued by it, to say the least.
I think it's worth a test with the new, the first runs or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think they feel really good. So yeah, check them out.
Oh yeah.
I had to play a little disc golf with Eli, which was fun. Other than that, I didn't do much else. Did I do anything else on? No, it was a pretty busy weekend, but doing a lot of help around the house at my family's house in Oklahoma. And then do you ever do that where you what did I do yesterday? I don't even remember what I did yesterday.
I do that all the time.
I did go. Oh, I did go watch one of my grandkids play some baseball, and then I celebrated my middle daughter's birthday, so that was fun. So I got to do that. Okay, so Eric, what about your weekend of disc golf?
USDGC was okay. I didn't have any aspirations of doing anything too crazy, but that's been kind of the mindset that I've had for the last handful of events. Well, 3 events: Foxwood, Music City, and USDGC, and it paid off. I had a really great attitude. Outside of a couple things that felt out of just out of my hands in how the holes play, how the rules are played. Out at Winthrop, where it's just like, man, is this what we're trying to do? Is this the direction we want disc golf to go? And it's like really hard for me to not think about that while I'm playing and trying to also just be like, yeah, it's fine. Everything's good. Everything's awesome. I don't care that I just took a double bogey. It's not a big deal. Like, it's fine. But I, outside of one bad round, and that was the very, very rainy, wet, windy round in round 3, where I erased all of my under par strokes in one round from rounds 1 and 2. But but that's the thing, is like a 5 over in those conditions, and 2, I had a double to finish the round on 18, which is I just had slippery hand, evader, straight OB after my sidearm went OB off the tee, and I was like, that's how you 6. That's 100% how you 6. And so it was a bit of a bummer, but finished well. Would climb myself back into the cash, keeping a good cash streak going at the USDGC, which is cool. It's not easy to do, but I'll take whatever money I can get from that event. And seeing how it played out on both the women's and the men's side, holy cow! I know we'll probably touch on that a little bit here, but it was awesome. It was a cool feeling, and to see the type of getting spectators out there again, because last year USDGC was weird, and this year USDGC felt really cool. It put into a perspective of how cool it was to have people like teeing off from Pensacola, Florida, or from representing Florida, Eric Oakley, and then there were a lot of people lining on hole 1 where they could have been walking with anybody at that point, but they came and cheered and did that, and we saw a lot more pockets on the course on different holes too. It was awesome. USDGC was great, and I felt good about it. So that was my weekend.
Good. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about USDGC, some of the shots that I saw out on the videos. I did not pay to watch, and we'll actually get into that a little bit later as well. Yeah. But I did get to see some clips that PDGA and Disc Golf Network posted out there. There's some pretty cool clips. But before that, let's get to a few questions. You guys ready?
Let's hit it.
Before that, do you even care about disc golf if you didn't pay to watch?
Already.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. I'm just starting. We're going to get into it. I'm just messing.
I know. So guys, as always, go to discgolfanswerman.com. You can submit your disc golf question there. You can either do it by the Google form, or if you want to send in your voicemail, we are doing speak pipes. Yes, I said it correctly this time. A lot of people, I've had people message me saying they just want me to do speak pipe to see if I can still say it or not say it. So in your face.
To be fair, I thought you said speak pike. So that's just what I heard.
Just wait till a few episodes down the road. I'm sure I'll mess it up.
I honestly thought he was saying speed trike, like fast tricycle the whole time.
Yep. Speed pike.
Yes. The whole time. Yeah. Freak night. So that's basically what we use.
Sweet Nikes. Anyway, thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
Street Nikes. We're giving away street Nikes. You can make sure you send your questions and we will get them on the air. The first one is from Joey. Joe, how you doing? That's the Joey.
Hey,
how you doing?
Joey.
Friends, how you doing? Actually, this is an interesting question, and one that it was from last week that we just didn't get to, but I knew this question would come. You ready? After leaving Dynamic Discs, do you or Robert throw any other company's plastic? Inquiring minds want to know. I can tell you right now, no. I mean, I left the company a month ago, and I left on good terms. So it wasn't like I ran out to a store and just bought a bunch of other manufacturers. As far as like discs that I had, I mean, when I first started disc golf, I got associated with Dynamic Discs part-time. So, and they had It wasn't shortly after I started working with them that they were starting to manufacture discs. So that's part of how they paid me, with a bunch of Dymax discs and stock stamp discs. So I really didn't have a whole lot. Interesting though. Oh, I wish I would have grabbed it. I think. No, I don't have it. Dang it, I forgot it. So I got a message from that Basket Case in Tulsa, the pro shop out there, that they had found one of my discs. And I thought, oh, cool. So I went by there thinking it was going to be something more recent. I was going through my mind. I was like, what did I lose recently? It was a Discraft Nuke.
It was a first run.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
It was a first run Nuke. Yes, super old one. And I'm like, I must have lost this probably 2010 or 11 or something like that. So that was insane. So no, I haven't done any throwing much of the discs I have already. So I haven't had a chance to try any other discs. I don't know that there's a couple I want to try, just because I remember people bringing them up and asking about them. Just to see how they throw. I know the Shrike, I think, is one that I remember thinking I'd like to try that one. I want to see why a Sexton Firebird, is it really worth $600? So I might just go grab a couple just to touch them and throw, see what they're all about. But I ain't spending $600 on a disc, guy. Sorry. I love you, Nate.
They've sold for way more than that. $600 is not. Yeah, there's been like $3,000 or $4,000 Sexton Firebirds.
Okay, but Bobby, if you don't spend $600, how else are you getting one?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm just going to run up and tackle somebody and hold it for a second and then give it back.
I said, give me this.
Just touch it.
So what about you, Robert?
Yeah, I have quite a bit of different stuff in my bag right now. I still have some DD stuff in there for sure. Well, let me go through the bag. I have a couple Forces in the bag right now. Just really overstable. And honestly, it's not that they do anything that like Enforcer or a Lucid Raider doesn't. But I know what those do, right? I've thrown those for a long time. It's been a long time since I've thrown anything else, probably since like 2013 or so. And so I just kind of wanted to mess around and experiment a little bit. I knew I wasn't going to participate in many tournaments this year. I think I've played one so far, and that'll probably be the only one that I play. And so I told McCabe before I left, like, I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me, but you're going to kind of waste sponsorship dollars on me if I were to stay on. I'm just not going to play very much competitively or otherwise. And so when I left the team, I just wanted to see what else was out there. So I've got a Destroyer in the bag. I have a Wraith in the bag. The Onyx is a really good disc. It's really similar to a Getaway or a Thunderbird, but it's kind of in that same realm. I have a Firebird in the bag right now.
You're dead.
You are
so dead to me.
It's like I said, it's not that I think it's better. I threw Firebirds before. I have thrown Felons exclusively since. Just want to see what there is to see, you know?
There's nothing. It's just so
and then let me think of what else I have in there. I have a couple buzzes in there. I used to really like the buzz. I have a rock in the bag right now. Really, really like the rock. And then I have probably my favorite two molds that I have back in the bag are T-Birds. I always really like the T-Bird, and I've got some sweet old T-Birds right now. Dear heavens, they're beautiful. Yeah. And then one KC Pro AVR that is so beat up. It was 175. Now it's 168. It's lost the bead completely. And it's called the Lotion. One of my buddies in quite a while ago named it that because it puts the lotion in the basket.
Oh, and my God,
he named it that, and it stuck. And like, more people than you would think should know about that knew about the lotion. So I'm still putting inside the circle, and out to about 40 feet, I'm still putting first run wardens. But I have the lotion for like long jump putts and stuff like that. So I'm just messing around with some stuff. If I were to go compete, I'd probably throw some stuff I'm a little bit more familiar with recently in the bag. But yeah, I'm just messing around, seeing what's out there.
There's like I said, there's a few things I want to try out because, as we're building this disc golf answer man, I want to be able to answer questions. A lot of people say, reached out to me and they said they really like hearing my advice because I'm more the casual guy, the lower skill level. And so I definitely want to try some other things out there so that I can speak on them intelligently. Not that I do that now when I throw stuff, but I'm going to try to. I'd like to at least give that impression to people. So if there's something you want me to try, post it on the Facebook group, Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group, and say, "Hey, Bobby, you need to try this particular disc. I think you'll like it." And then
I've thrown most discs. Like if I'm ever playing with somebody, like if I play with Chandler, I play with Calvin, I play with Eagle. It's like I'm throwing some stuff in their bag every once in a while. It's like it's fun to do. So it's the right thing, like to understand how discs fly, because also it helps you understand, how people are playing the game. Because if I know that Eagle is throwing this DD3 with this much power on that much hyzer, and then I throw it flat, and that's how I'm getting a similar flight. It's like it just helps us attack holes in certain ways. And whenever we're hanging out and game planning, I know that, hey, why don't you throw that other DD3 instead of that? Like, it helps us help prepare a lot better. Also, low key through the West Side Disc Bear today. That disc is pretty sick.
What is it?
It's like basically supposed to be like Stag Pro.
Okay.
I was able to like rip on it like an evader on hyzer, and it would do like an escape or stag flip. But then it, like, when it got over, it would just hold. And then it was like, because it was always waiting to like have a good hefty finish. So it's like, it's like where an evader or an explorer are like straight, no, like very little fade, very little play right. This is like a similar, it's faster, but it's like similar, but it's like does so in a much more S pattern. It was cool.
That's cool. Chaser reminded me too. I'm living near Austin, and I know the guys who own and run Mint discs. I've thrown a couple of their discs, and they've been good so far. I've thrown the Bullet, I've thrown the Bobcat, and the Alpha, and I've liked them. They're good.
Nice. All right, next one comes from Hyzer Wizard. Ooh. He says, what jobs are being created inside the disc golf world? Where do you see the future needs being? It's interesting that he brings that up, because since leaving Dynamic Discs, it's made me explore different avenues because I kind of went through an epiphany, if you will, where I had to make a realization that I left Dynamic Discs, but I didn't leave disc golf. So, and before I got hired with Dynamic Discs and got associated with them, I was trying to build a media business, CoolDaddySlickBreeze, in the disc golf world. So anyway, it's interesting now, 12 years later, seeing all this stuff happening with Disc Golf Network. And of course, I know all the media side of things because that's what I'm involved in. But then you have they're hiring a competition director, they're hiring social media managers, they're hiring, they've got photographers on staff and different things like that. It's just really cool. One of the things that I'm looking to explore, shameless plug if you're interested, is being like a social media coach, a coordinator, manager for disc golf entities out there. Dibs. Yeah. So I'm going to be experimenting and working with a few players, Mr. Dibs here, to just kind of see what it's like, and that to see if I can help them with their social media presence. And I'm going to turn that, much like I did at the very beginning, turning social media into a career. I'm going to turn social media coaching and consulting into a career in the niche of disc golf. So what about you guys? Have you seen like things out there as far as like, wow, I didn't realize that would become a job or a career in the disc golf world?
Go ahead, Robert.
I can speak to that a little bit more from a business perspective. I think that businesses now, especially disc golf companies, we're past the point of just being like, hey, we got discs, here you have discs. There are a ton of moving parts that make disc golf companies work, right? From their back end developing, to the marketing, to Amazon, to like larger enterprise accounts. There are a ton of business opportunities that would allow you to work in disc golf without having to be either one, super knowledgeable about disc golf, or like really good at disc golf when you get into it, or two, like having to be in what we've known to be the normal jobs up until this point. So I think there are a lot of things out there that weren't even on people's radars a couple of years ago because disc golf is growing so much. So if you have a favorite manufacturer and you think that they're lacking in a certain area, almost all of them you can find a contact online, even if it's an info at something. If you have a skill set to show and you're passionate about disc golf, I think it's worth throwing something out there and just seeing what there is to see.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I could see more agent type people getting into the sport. I think that we're seeing there is some of that happening. I'm planning on talking with a crew this off season to help navigate not only
is it me
sponsorship. I mean, we can chat.
Nice. Okay.
But I think that's one thing on the pro side. Bobby mentioned the social media. I do think that if you're going to continue to run a big event, a pro tour or major, that is almost a job. That's a job itself and should start to become a full-time job of doing what Nate Heinold does for fundraising, being able to make sure the courses are completely set and locked down and are changing and evolving in the right directions. And if they aren't, there's ideas about getting new courses in play in those areas. Like, I think there's enough to be done about making tournament directing a full-time job for more people and more people involved. Especially with the with Disc Golf Network and everything growing the sport and us getting on ESPN and CBS Sports, and hopefully that becomes a much larger trend that it's worth doing, and it's a big part, and it has a bigger impact. And I've seen it from what we've seen at Disc Golf Pro Tour events compared to national tours. And this is just to not knock on national tours, but national tours were generally run by volunteer crews. But when you had the Disc Golf Pro Tour, they had their paid crew there. So you at least had these, I don't know, anywhere from 6 to 10 guys. I think it might have only been 6, but depending on the events, they had these guys that were paid. And they made sure the course looked good, and they did all this stuff, and they did that with volunteers. But a couple events had, like Green Mountain Championships kind of run seamlessly because of the Smuggler's Notch crew. Ledgestone, same concept, because Nate Heinold has his crew. D-Glow, DDO, Texas AMs all ran very seamlessly. The only volunteer crew that I saw that blew my mind was Stumptown Disc Golf in Portland, Oregon, and they had the course broken down within an hour of the final putt. It was awesome, and it saved the Pro Tour crew a lot of time and effort, and it was just really cool to see from a volunteer crew. So with that being said, that's where I do see that things evolving and things changing for jobs in disc golf, where I think you might be able to make being a tournament director a full-time job. If it's not just one event, it can be multiple events. And I genuinely think they should be. So,
excellent. Well, guys, let me describe a situation that I hear about a lot. It's the day of release for new limited edition discs from your favorite player. You're sitting at your computer or mobile device ready for the hour of release. You've got your credit card ready, your alarm goes off, and it's go time. You fill up your shopping cart full of your favorite disc, and you hit checkout, and boom, they're sold out. I know this happened a lot with where I worked, so I know it happens a lot at other big stores as well. So here's my solution. I want you to look for stores, what I like to call sleeper stores, and one of those is doordisc.com. It's a small store. He's building it. Shane is building that store up. But right now, he's what I call a sleeper store. And they get the same limited edition discs just like everyone else. But not many people know about their online store. So you can get things like the James Conrad Special Edition Envy or the Drew Gibson Series Penrose. So the next time you're looking for highly sought after discs, check out doordisc.com and use code DGAM to get free shipping. That's DGAM for free shipping, and get the best subpar disc golf shopping experience on the internet. One of the things I want to talk about is we go back to USDGC, and that's the payout discussion, right? So I got an article here from Altiworld where they state that this year's USDGC awarded first place cash payout, matching the all-time high of $20,000 that was set by the 2020 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. And I know it sounds like a silly question, but I guess I want to hear from you, Eric, who's a guy out there, working to make a living playing disc golf. What does that mean to you when you see these events raising the bar with bigger payouts?
I feel like it kind of becomes somewhat of a who's cooler contest, because I know that's part of it is to, trying up who's going to beat out Ledgestone, who's going to beat out Worlds, who's going to beat out the Pro Tour Finals. It starts to feel a little bit like that from a small perspective, because if you look, I believe that the lower places were much lower than they have been in the past. Mm-hmm. I think I remember Last Cash getting close to like $500, and this year it was just over $300.
288 for the ties for 37th. But I think that went a little bit beyond, since if it was at 40%, I think it would have been $300. But since they had ties beyond 40 people, it dropped it down a bit.
When I just saw when it said 40th place got three and some change. So that feels like, is that the direction we do want to go? And maybe we do need to pay the top heavier, and I'm fine with that, because whenever I have those better finishes, it's fine. I do make a lot more money. And I think it's a good thing. I do think it's stroking the ego a little bit when we do that, and I know that's a little brash to say, but it is definitely one of those things. And understanding how many spectator passes, how many people bought into Disc Golf Network, plus the Monday qualifying, plus discs that were sold. I think it's more trying to understand what money is being converted into the payout and what money is being converted to pay for the event itself. And we talk about, this is going to help you guys and go into your payout. That's what we hear a lot, but I don't necessarily see it completely that way. But I do know that there is some, especially on the Pro Tour side with Disc Golf Network and everything they have, that has helped boost quite a bit of the payouts. Do I think that Innova did? I don't know. It's hard. And the USDGC crew, do I think that they did? I do not know. It's hard for me to make a statement of fact without actually knowing. But getting up to 20,000 is awesome, and big props to Paul and taking that down. So I hope that we can sustain numbers like that, and hopefully the payouts can go, like, it can still be a 20,000 for first, and maybe it's like a grand for Last Cash, and we get to that point, or that number goes even higher, and we still have, pushing close to a grand for cashing, and especially at these major events, to where everybody is still getting by. And because I do think that's what we want. Because think about it, if Kyle Klein didn't have the support maybe of his family and his sponsors, what if he was living paycheck to paycheck and tournament to tournament, and he only got $288 for Last Cash at a couple events, and was unable to travel to the USDGC because of that fact? You don't have this dramatic playoff and thing happening. Now, a player like Kyle Klein and who already won a Pro Tour should not have any financial issues, but that's my point, is we're going to have these players that you want to create stories around to gravitate people towards. So the payout working in deeper ways could be a very big benefit, but we do not want to forget that this is a competition, and the players who play better should reap that reward as well.
Now, coming up this week is the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, and they've boasted another record-breaking purse of $250,000. The winners of MPO and FPO each getting $30,000. Second place getting 15, third getting 10,000, and fourth getting 8,000. And they say all players that compete at the event will take home at least 2,000 in MPO, and what is that about 2,000 in MPO and 2,500 in FPO, according to the discgolfprotour.com. Or no, according to another article from Disc Golf All-Too World. Robert, so a question I got is, because the reason I thought of this question was because I remember quite a few years ago where I would hear, as the Pro Tour started gaining traction and becoming a bigger deal, I would hear tournament directors of local A tiers would ask to have some of our big name players on Team Dynamic Discs come out to their event. And we noticed that these players would stop playing these A tiers because they would say, I'm going to devote my time to the Pro Tour events as it grows. So do you think as these bigger events get bigger payouts, is that going to hurt the local A tiers even more because more of the top players are going to want to play the top places that pay out the most?
Yes, but I'm not sure that's bad necessarily. And
Okay.
I don't, this is going to sound bad to if you are running an A tier that's like an up and coming event. And I don't mean to offend anyone who is doing that, but if we're trying to make the Disc Golf Pro Tour like, the PGA Tour or other professional tours, some events just aren't going to make the cut to be on this. And as a result, they're not going to have premier players show up. They might have some, which is awesome. And there is nothing keeping those events from reaching out to those players directly and asking if they can attend. I know that some places have paid appearance fees for people to attend their event. And I think do whatever you can to get those players out there. But that's just a natural consequence of the way things are going. Yeah. And so like it or not, it's something that we're going to have to deal with. That's insane, by the way, payout for the players who are going to be at the Pro Tour finale. That's awesome. I mean, even if you had just an okay year and were able to qualify, with a couple of good finishes, and you just play the worst round of your life, you walk out with $2,500. Okay. Yeah. You'd have had to finish the tie for 5th place at USDGC. That was Sexton, Joel Freeman, and Chris Dickerson. They took home $2,467 a piece. If you show up and played 980 golf, you take home $2,500. That's pretty legit.
It's nice.
Yeah. So it is unfortunately a natural consequence that those A tiers, B tier, C tiers, they're not going to have the top players necessarily. But if I'm running those events and I get a couple of those players, that's awesome. That's really cool. But it also gives those local up and comers a chance to kind of make their name. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And get prepared for what it's like to be on the tour a little bit more and have the funds to make it out there. Where if a pro shows up, cleans up the top cash, they do a skins match, cleans up the skins, and then has an appearance fee and then leaves. It's like, I mean, is that really helping the local scene? It is, because it is bringing more people to disc golf, but it's also hurting some of the players that might want to give tour a try. And I think that we need more of those anyways.
Yeah. And honestly, the events are going to speak for themselves. If an A tier is strong enough and popular enough and has enough money, the players are going to show up. But disc golfers, especially at the professional level, are trying to make a living. And if you give them the chance to do that, especially, this is kind of like DoorDash that you talked about a second ago. Some of these sleeper events, maybe you played USDGC and didn't play your best, and you cashed, but you made $500. Well, that same level of play, maybe even a little bit better, could get you $2,000 at an A tier. I mean,
low key though, if you are going to run one of these events and you want to attract players, stop playing 3 rounds on 3 courses. Or 2 days worth of 3 courses. Like, just don't do it. Like, I can't stress to you enough how much of a turnoff it is as a pro. If somebody's like, come out to our tournament, and I look at the disc golf scene and I see 3 courses listed and I see the days that we're playing them, I will immediately disregard it. I don't play many of those events anyways, but I'm not about to go and travel and have 3 courses to practice for an event that isn't bringing that much like a Pro Tour does. And if you notice, no Pro Tour plays on 3 courses outside of Vegas. And guess what? What the biggest complaint about Vegas is? We're playing 3 courses. So don't look at that as a prime example. Look at the rest of the tour and why they're doing it. Similar to why nobody does the same rules at USDGC is because we shouldn't be doing that. And that, so don't follow suit of them. Follow suit to the Green Mountain Championships, the Ledgestones, the DGLO, the DDO, those types of events. Follow suit there rather than these other outliers.
I'm curious I'm sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Just super fast. I played an event a couple of years ago, and I don't want to say the name of the event, but this happens a lot. But it was a 2-day, 4-round event. It was an A tier. And the quote that was said at the time, and like I said, this isn't a shot against the people who organized it, but they said, like, this is supposed to be hard. It's 4 rounds, 4 courses. This is supposed to be hard. And I understand what they're saying. And for some players, that's cool. Like if you are the local guy who gets to play there all the time, you're the local 1010 rated guy, you're going to be stoked about that. I play all those courses all the time. But I think it's a bit of a shift in mindset from what we've had in years past to say for the more professional events, if you want to attract these players, this is one of the things that they're going to be looking for. They don't want to learn more than 2 courses. If possible, and you have a fantastic course, 1 course is great. Yeah, it's great. Give them the
highly doubt that those 4 courses were all top tier. I bet 1 was probably better than the other, or 2 were better than the other 2. That's going to happen. There's very few places in the world to where you have 3 top class courses within that close of each other to make it work for an event. And if you do, let us know, because that would probably be a great place to have a Pro Tour where you put, you do what a Ledgestone does, is where men are on this course and women are on that course, and then you kind of go like this. You do this shift where you don't play all 3 courses for both divisions, but you play 2 split and one of the courses shared. That's the kind of stuff that we should be doing. And I love seeing more courses for the women where they have a course to them. And I honestly think that we should be pushing to have a Pro Tour women's event. And it's something that's been discussed where this event is for the women. It's a women's only disc golf Pro Tour event that, the course is theirs, the coverage is theirs. Everybody is focused in on them to help kind of allow that to grow into something bigger. I think that would be a positive thing, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah. Well, and Sunset is such a great course for the ladies out there.
So
it plays so great for their games. So I think that's wisely done.
Heather Hughes, is just put IDGC in the chat. Jackson is top tier. What's the other one? Steady Ed is probably one of the best women's course I've ever played, but it does not score well for the men. And Warner, from what I understand, is not going to score that well for the men. That's close though. Very, very close. So
I'm curious to hear from, if you're a listener or watcher, if you run tournaments, A tier tournaments. I'm curious to know what your thought is as far as the payout. Does it make it a little more challenging for you to draw in some of the top pros, or just a pro that's an up and comer that has created a bit of a name for themselves in the area, but now will want to travel to some of the big tournaments rather than playing the local tournaments? I'm curious to see what your opinion is. Send me a message on either the Instagram, Disc Golf Answerman Instagram, or on the Facebook Messenger for Disc Golf Answerman. I'll be curious to get your feedback on that.
Awesome.
So I also, another question I thought was, well, payouts are growing. So does that encourage more people to get out and try to create a career out of disc golf? So I actually put a little poll, a very super scientific poll.
I liked it.
Yeah, ran through a lot of testing and ran it through, stayed at a Holiday Inn Express to make sure that my mind was right for this poll. So anyway, the poll was: the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship will have a record-breaking $250,000 payout, including $30K to MPO and FPO winners. Does this increase in payout encourage you to pursue disc golf as a career? I had 3 choices. No, it's still not enough. 2, give it another 5 years and I will be out there. Or yes, I'm already planning my tour schedule for 2022. Let's see, there was about 80, 100, a little over 125, 230 votes. 68 people said still not enough money. 26 people said give it about 5 years, and 22 people said I'm already planning. That surprised me. I didn't know that many people would come in as far as comparing all the other numbers. They're ready to start their planning for 2022. Couple comments. Do I
was already planning my 2022 season. Right?
Oh,
nice.
Nice. So some of the comments was they're not good enough. I started playing at 36 years old. These new guys have too much of an upper hand. That is kind of I wonder if some kind of I hear that often. It's like if I had started disc golf now when I was young or whatever, they'd be a lot better. I mean, higher payouts don't help me place high enough to make money. It doesn't increase my desire or drive, but does increase the likelihood of success. Let's see, what was some of the other comments? I am never going to be best in my town or age group, so no impact on me. I just suck.
Just tell it how it is,
I guess. So anyway, so interesting stuff. Again, if you want to put your vote in, give us your comments and get part of the conversation. Find the Facebook group Disc Golf Answer Man. All right, let's jump back into oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
Can I just speak to that real fast?
Yeah.
I think for the people who said give it 5 years and I'll be out there, that's the group that I think is going to be more impacted by this change than current professional players. Like current professionals will, because they'll make more money at each event that they go to. But think about players coming up like Eagle and Kyle Klein and Gannon Burr. Those are people that started playing when they were pretty young. Even when making a living in disc golf wasn't as viable as it is now. Like that's when they started playing, when it wasn't as viable. Imagine if it's becoming more viable. What 10-year-old kid is out there already kind of interested in disc golf and saying to his parents, like, I want to be a professional disc golfer. And in years past, they would have been like, no, you're going to go make money somewhere. You're going to go have a job. But now it's like, I mean, you could have a mediocre touring season and do all right with some help from sponsors with I mean, minimal expenses, like making sure you're not spending out the wazoo. You don't have to be in the top 20, 30, 40 players on the year to be able to live like you did in years past. And so 100%. I think that next generation is going to be the one that benefits from this even more. And we'll see more players like those that I listed. Yeah. Anyway, you can move on. I just wanted to say something.
Agree.
Robert, you should come party with me in Tulsa, because on the weekends I specifically spend out the wazoo.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Same here.
It's a good time.
Same here. I take the wazoo, and from outside of it is where I spend.
Correct. Yeah. All right. Next question is from Jay. Concerning that tee with the pole sticking up in front of it, since it's the card that calls foot fault, could a card decide they don't like the location of the tee box and all agree to throw in front of it, and then they would not call foot fault on one another? The tee has been quite controversial, and I'm wondering if players could just boycott something like this. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. You know what? You absolutely can do that if you're playing match play. That's the only time you can do that. In match play, if whatever players are playing decide they're going to play a hole a certain way and both players agree, all bets are off. Throw from wherever you want. Putt to a different basket. Who cares? In match play, it is up to you, the course that you play across the board. I mean, you can't change a whole lot of stuff, but there's stuff like that. But if you're talking a sanctioned event, absolutely not. You cannot do that, because it's not just your card that's affected. Even if it's even if your division only has 4 players and they're all on the same card and you're like, we're just playing for our own money, you're also playing for ratings. So there are far too many things that are complicated for changing something like that. So if you're playing match play, sure, go right ahead and do it. If you're not, absolutely not, you can't do it.
Nope.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
All right. Fair warning. Apparently my camera's not set up correctly and the battery's going to go out. So that's wonderful.
Cool.
GG.
All right, next question is from Marion.
Jeej.
Why are felons so heavy?
They made
I
air
usually-
felons.
I usually try to buy discs in the 170 range, but the lightest felon I can find is usually a 175. Is that by design or just some weird manufacturing quirk? I've finally built up my arm speed now that I'm at the 10-month mark of playing. So hopefully I can start ripping up some heavier weight discs. Keep it real 2.0. Glad you guys are back. Good
Let's
to be
go.
back. By the way, Robert was talking about how he's trying some different discs. And I remember when he came in, there it goes.
Bye, camera.
By camera.
Bye, camera. We'll still be here. Go ahead,
Be
bud.
out here.
I like how it froze on my face right there.
Oh,
That's a
little
good one.
Smoochers. Mwah.
Go ahead.
All right. So I remember Robert coming in when he was leaving. There we go. Webcam, baby. I remember Robert coming in to my office telling me that he was going to leave DD. You know, it kind of talked about it and everything and things
Who's
that were
DD?
going on. And
She sounds nice.
he was leaving Dynamic Discs.
Not nice enough, apparently.
And, you know, he was
JK,
talking about
JK,
how
JK.
certain things that, you know, weren't going to be the same. But I remember as he left, he turned around as he walked out and then turned quickly around and said, but you know what? The good part is I don't have to throw felons anymore.
Oh,
So-
get out of here. This
That's
whole
just-
build up.
Hey,
What?
look, I remember it like it was yesterday. That happened exactly like you said it. So that was
This
it.
is
All
the worst.
That did not happen.
That did not happen. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna have to get that clip and share it with Melton. He'll love it.
That was a good one.
I have seen. To answer the question. I have seen many felons 169 up into the mid 170s, like 173. In the Lucid X, they're much more far in between of the because of the amount that is ran. Where if they're trying to keep the weights on the higher end, you're not going to have as much lower end. But if they were to run 10,000 Lucid X felons, we would have a bigger variety of weights, colors, stamps, that kind of stuff. So keep searching. Check a couple different other websites. I guarantee. I think there is even some. Yeah, I've seen plenty that are in that lighter weight range. And if push comes to shove, Trilogy ISO or any disc golf ISO page on Facebook is a wonderful place to go to find stuff. Somebody has a disc for you somewhere, and you can. I've seen people post some of the most outrageous stuff, but yeah, please go find them. You'll be happy.
Yes, and I'm just kidding. Felons are an excellent disc.
Those are awesome.
Everybody just likes to pick on Eric.
I enjoyed
That's
that
fair.
story. That was a good one.
I didn't know where it was going.
didn't know it was going?
Wonderful. No, I had no idea. We'll play
I was racking my brain like, what did I say? I
Yeah.
don't remember.
All right, next question comes from Shay Stevens. What's up, Bobby? Cool, Daddy Slickbees, Robert, best hair in Texas, McCall, and Eric is that good, Oakley. This is Shay from Philly typing out his question since there isn't a speak pipe open. There is now, Shay. And I did it actually after I read this. I was like, I need to go do that. Anyway, he says, I'm mentioning speak pipe with hopes it will return and that Bobby will continue to struggle saying it. Nah, I struggle no more. I will struggle next week, though. I began as a forehand exclusive player, and after learning to throw backhand from a local pro, I committed to 6 months of only throwing backhands to learn the form. At the end of 6 months, I forgot how to forehand. Dang it. I'm relearning forehand, and I noticed I have very common misfire of about 5 to 10 degrees across my body. Any tips for correcting the course of my throw? Thank you, and always keep it real.
Yes. Slow, keep your pace and power level lower than you think. As you're rebuilding back up, your muscles are going to be firing in a different way. And more often, my misfire when I pull a disc is because I'm thinking about a little bit too much extra power in the throw rather than focusing on the release point and hitting my line. The best part about a forehand is that we are seeing the target and our aiming point the whole way through the shot because we never look away from the shot. So in doing so, don't overthrow because that's the most important part of why we like to throw forehands. And it just allow it to be easier. I pretty much never think or try and throw a forehand full power. It's always about 80%. Even when I'm throwing max distance, it probably creeps up to maybe 90% at most. Because the moment I go up to 100%, I know that I'm missing the angle, I'm missing the line, it's coming out fluttering. There's a lot of things that are going to go into that are going to cause the throw to not be as good. So take the power off, focus on your follow through being forward first, and let it be good.
There you go. All right, next question is a plug for me. This is perfect. This is from Drake. Just wanted to get your take on what parts of disc golf. Yeah, the Drake. He's into disc golf now.
Good.
What parts of disc golf social media are most important to expand your exposure? If there's an untapped market you think people should lean into. So happy to hear Cool Daddy SlickBreeze back on the air. Keep it real forever, my dude, Drake. I'm Drake's dude, man.
Dude, that's awesome. I love.
So that's what I'm excited about. I'm getting into the social media consulting coaching business for disc golf. I think there's a huge need out there for it. I still think there's a lot of the manufacturers that are bringing their A game to disc golf social media, but I think a lot of players are missing the mark as far as realizing that is a huge part of what they bring to a manufacturer. As far as building a social following. Is there an untapped market? I would say the untapped market is the fact that you've got players that are realizing that this is a big part of the value that they bring, but they don't have the time. They want to play well, but they've got to realize that playing well is only part of the business of making disc golf a career. If you think that you can just play super, super really well and that be the only thing, I'm sorry, that the business has changed. It's different. You need to become what they call an influencer, because that's what's going to attract you to a manufacturer. So I think it's going to become more and more where you're going to find out where some of these top players have people helping them. And then you're going to have these people that aren't quite the top, maybe mid-tier level, that's trying to get to the top. They're going to need that help, and they're going to have to make that investment. They're going to have to look at it as an investment to have somebody that's they work on their game while I work on the social media game, and I help build their personal brand and almost become like a brand manager and help them so that when they do approach these manufacturers, they can say, hey, I can play good, but I also have a lot of influence over on the social media side, because that's really important. As far as a specific place, I mean, right now you can't deny TikTok. It's goofy, it's crazy, but you can have somebody that has 100 followers have a video go viral if they just get the right video out there, go viral, and then their follower count goes up. And there is just something about the guys that create the algorithm at TikTok that they have just figured out how to make sure that you see things that are relevant to you. At first, it's going to just, when you first get into TikTok, it's just going to be craziness, and you're going to be like, what is this crap? But if you start following the right people, start looking at the videos, and start just spending a little time on TikTok, you'll notice all of a sudden you'll get served stuff that just makes sense for you. Let's see, what was the other thing I was going to say about, engage with your followers. No more can you just post and hope that it catches on. You've got to engage. In a sense, it sounds funny, but you've got to bring the social back to social media. So you've got to engage with your people. You got to talk with them. You got to comment. You got to like. So go back. If you post something, you get people that like it. Make sure you go back and say, hey, appreciate you liking my stuff. Be cool if you left a comment or let me know your feedback or something like that. And then start an actual conversation. So that's the biggest. I got a lot more advice to give, but I'm going to save that. You can hire me at Actually, you can reach out to me, Uncle Bobby Jr. at me.com, and let's talk. Let's see if I can help you out with some social media coaching. All right. Next question we're going to go into, because it has to do with what I want to talk about next. And the question comes from Andrew, and this is about the pay-per-view model for USDGC.
Gosh, I forgot. We've talked about so much stuff and we haven't even gotten to this
I
yet.
know.
Oh, dear.
He says, I personally don't like the idea of paying extra for an event when already subscribing to Disc Golf Network. Now, I will be totally honest. I have got so much going on that I'm trying to get things focused on disc golf, but I didn't understand what was happening as far as having to pay extra until probably the second day into USDGC, when I was going to sign into my Disc Golf Network account to watch and check in. I didn't realize you had to pay more on top of what you've already paid. And I will admit, I'm usually the advocate that says, guys, you need to pay. But at first I was like, what the what? And I had to kind of pause and say, I had to kind of think through this. And I'm not sure how much I agree with the paying on top of paying for the coverage, especially since now, I don't know. Did you guys know that was going to happen? Now you, Eric, maybe knew as a player, or maybe you didn't, but Robert, I don't know. Did you know that you would have to pay extra?
No, but we've had to in years past.
Yeah.
It's been a pay-per-view thing for a little while. I will say this about it. The Disc Golf Network was pretty clear about what events were included, and USDGC wasn't one of them.
That's true.
And so for the people who are mad that they already paid, that wasn't ever on the menu to start off with, at least not that I remember. And that's what they had to say about it. At the same time, I didn't want to pay more for it. I would prefer to just stick with the subscription that I've already got. But I paid it. I watched quite a bit of it. I probably watched 2.5 or 3 rounds over the course of 4 days.
Nice.
And it sucks that it crapped out when it did. For me, I didn't get to see the last bit of 18 or any of the playoff. So that was unfortunate.
I heard that didn't happen for everyone though.
Right. Yeah. I heard that.
Did you try refreshing your browser? I heard a lot of people refresh.
No, I forgot. I just sat there and stared at it and hoped. Of course, I freaking refreshed my browser. Like what? I turned everything on and back on or off and back on. And yeah,
did you try not having it cut out?
Yeah, I did try that too. I took the cartridge out and went and put it back in.
Slap on the top.
Yeah, that didn't work either. I was pissed.
Did you tell?
And my Nintendo controller wasn't working either.
Did
so
you tell
all of that was just a bad day.
Did you tell Shay to stop watching Survivor reruns?
Dude, I did. No, I don't even have. There was no one else in my house taking bandwidth. It was just that it stopped working in my house, and so I was very sad.
So I do think part of the paywall was constructed by the event itself. That it was probably less on Disc Golf Network. And why I say that is because we don't have Jomez coverage from this USDGC. So with that being said, there are things involved that most people don't know about. I don't even know about. This is all my speculation, and not surprised that a company who in the past has done this often is asking for you to give more money. Not surprised in by any means. It sucks. I think it does, but at the same time, I think what Robert said about it was never on the menu, so you can't be that mad at it. And then there's the other school of thinking of it is a good thing to show that kind of support. Granted, if all that money went to the people who run the event, that kind of sucks. I hope that a good amount of that went to the camera crew people, the commentators, and that's where that money went. That a good amount of it actually went to make the broadcast what it was. That's what I'm hoping. And also in doing this, like, we really want to see that level of growth. We want to be able to understand the things being behind a paywall like the Disc Golf Network. It is incredibly important for when we go to get big outside sponsors into disc golf and broadcasting people into disc golf, them having a product that shows that they were able to get thousands upon thousands of viewers to buy in. It shows that there is money in the sport and people are willing to support that sport. So when they go to an ESPN or someone else, they know that them putting it together, the broadcast, is going to bring revenue to that company. So that's why it's important. That's why it's big to not forget that as a consumer. It's tough, it sucks, but remember, you can take you don't buy one disc a month and you can pay for that stuff. It's so
don't buy one disc, period.
Yeah.
And it's paid for.
Yep.
Yeah. So interesting stuff. I didn't think of that angle as far as them not mentioning it in the first place. So that makes that kind of takes away the steam for me, because you're right. If they never mentioned that you would get it, then you really don't have any ground to stand on as far as getting mad about paying for the subscription.
That's never stopped people on the internet from getting upset about things before, though.
That's fair.
Reason, logic.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare you?
Common sense. Get out of here with that stuff.
I will say though about the coverage, it was fantastic. It dropped out for me, like I said, on the end of 18, so I didn't get to see the playoff, but they did a wonderful job. There was multiple holes being covered at once. On a bit of a delay, which was cool. If it didn't happen live, we didn't get it at the time, and so I know that Johnny V and all that production team has been working to make that a little bit more seamless, and it was wonderful. So I thought the coverage was great. I did see one person say that they think Philo is by far the best commentator in our sport, and there's not a close second. And that, I didn't comment on that. I think Philo is doing I think Ian does a great job. Juliana and Hannah were great, but to say that he's the best without a close second I disagree. I think that there are at least, if you want to say that he's your favorite, it's like flavors of soda, right? Mm-hmm. I like Dr. Pepper. I think it's the best soda. There are some people that like Pepsi, and I think they're wrong. But to them, it's the best. Yeah, well, that's true. To them, it's the best soda. And so for people to argue about commentators and their quality, there are some that I like to listen to more than others, but that doesn't mean that they're infinitely better or worse than somebody else once you're to a certain standard.
It goes to the same standpoint of, I was on one of Eagle's videos at some point this year or last year, and it was a pretty solid two different camps of, yes, we love having Eric Oakley. This is why he was there when we started the channel, all this stuff, we love it. And then there was kill him with fire, please. It was, there's no in between of it's Eric was fine, but whatever, we'll see you in the next video. There was no middle ground. And that's how it is we're so polarized in so many different facets. And it's funny to see it in videos. When I've been on Jomez, they always ask if I want to be mic'd up. And I'm like, if nobody else does, I'll mic myself up. You're going to hear me anyways. You don't need the mic. But and again, same thing in the comment section of, a lot of people love it, and they're like, "Oh, he'd be funny to have with German Yuli on a practice round, or we should do more with Eric." Or then there's the camp of he needs to die in a fire. I just don't get it. And honestly, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Mute it. It doesn't matter. It gets to the point where people complaining in the comment section of videos is they live for it. It's this is not the place. Tell your wife, tell your friends you don't like that. Posting about it on a video is so dumb, and it's so stupid.
Right.
And go into a disc golf discussion or something on Facebook.
You're always going to have
not worth it.
Naysayers
it's so not worth it.
Part of life. So, but what I thought would be interesting, I don't know if you guys could think on your feet, how fast you can think on your feet, but see if we can play a little game based on the Disc Golf Network and actually USDGC having a paywall on top of a paywall. What is a game we're going to call Other Things in Life that should have a double paywall?
Okay, great.
You ready? Okay, so I already thought of one. I thought of one.
Okay.
Here we go. So, Krispy Kreme. So you always walk into Krispy Kreme, and it smells so delicious, right? Imagine walking up, paying for your dozen of donuts, and get a 5% smell tax. In other words, you have to pay to smell the donuts you just purchased.
It would not keep me from buying those donuts. It would never keep me from buying those donuts. Low-key, Tina and I get down on Krispy Kreme more often than we should.
Just for sure.
Plain ones or
I like the Oreo filled ones if they have them, but we go to Krispy Kreme, and it does not matter what they have. We go. It's not what flavors do they have? Okay, we should go to Krispy Kreme. It's just
they have flavors.
We don't. We got it. I'm excited.
Are they still making donuts? Yeah, we'll go.
Jump.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. This already occurs in video games with microtransactions, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Where you get the game, and a lot of times it's on free to play games. That's how they get you.
Mhm.
As evidenced by me in Rocket League owning a titanium white Finnick.
Same.
Same for Eric. I mean, we're not talking like ridiculous money here, but some
That's
people
enough.
don't. Some people don't like that very much.
Mm-hmm.
My wife
Anything
being one
else?
of them.
Anything-
Wait, what?
Sorry, Shay. Shay, I love
Anything
you.
in life that should have a double paywall?
Gosh. I mean, what if like clothing stores started like charging you to try on the clothes?
Ooh,
They're
yeah.
worn now. They are worn. Like, it's like, how many clothes did you try on? That was 6. Okay, cool. We're gonna charge you, 50 cents per clothing item you tried on. Like,
Trying a 7th pair of jeans and get 10% off.
yeah, totally.
Of
Like,
your
why
try-on
not?
fee.
Yeah, of your
Your
try-on
try-on fee. Yeah, just the try-on fee.
I could see stuff like that. Like, and that would be whatever it is, and people would hate it. But
Okay,
the double paywall is fine in my opinion.
Okay,
for our
I'm
sport.
gonna say something.
Okay.
Understand that I hope this never happens.
Oh no.
Okay. I pay for Netflix,
Yes.
right? All right. And there's a series on Netflix right now that I am not encouraging anyone to watch, but that I did. Okay, it's called Squid Game.
I've heard. I haven't watched it
I've
yet.
never heard of that.
Okay,
It's like-
Bobby,
it's all anybody's talking about.
you will be fascinated about it when you see it. Okay, so I watched the first 2 episodes while Shay and Owen were out of town, maybe on like Wednesday or something, and I finished the series today because it is intense. Now, probably the cruelest double paywall would be on a show like that, like a suspense-filled,
One that's
intense show.
trending upward to.
Yes. When you get to the last episode, they make you pay $5 more.
Oh yeah.
I would have been hot, but I would have paid it so fast.
I mean, that could be real. Like, I've actually seen some YouTubers like from WoW videos or Rocket League videos and stuff like that. They'll have some stuff towards like their subscribers on Twitch. Like, these are only video or Patreon exclusive videos, and those are technically in that regard because it's kind of a double paywall in some aspects. Like they're, if you want to know how to musty flick in Rocket League, and this guy's going to do a video about it, but he's only going to share it to his Patreon people, and you're already subscribed to him on YouTube and on Twitch, you're probably going to pay that little extra to get a monthly and see his extra videos. Like, that happens a lot. And I don't know, it's supporting content. I think it's very good. I think we should do that. And the Netflix thing.
But Netflix, please don't do that.
Shut
Please
up, Robert.
don't do that.
Do you know who would do that first? Would be Disney. Disney Plus would be the first people to do that.
I think that so Justin in the chat said, you mean like Disney Plus and HBO Max with the new movie releases? So maybe they already do that where you pay the monthly membership and then you have to pay for the movie also.
Well, yeah,
but
that's kind of
the
a
movie
pandemic.
eventually becomes free.
Right, that's
on
kind of a
on that.
pandemic thing because then it was before pandemic. They were testing out putting a movie out before it hit theaters, and you would pay a premium to rent it at home.
Mhm.
But didn't Hulu used to do that with seasons? Like they would make seasons 1, 2, and 3 available for free, but then season 4, the one that's the previous season, you had to pay per episode. So that was kind of what they did. So, all right.
Okay,
so
here's the last one.
Last one. What do you got?
Okay. You're playing a disc golf tournament. You get to the last hole of the tournament and you're 1 shot out of the lead. You have the chance for Paul Macbeth to putt for you. I'm taking it. Paul, I'll pay you whatever.
I thought you were going to say mulligan. You can buy mulligans at the end. Like,
oh, that'd be cool too. But then I'm still hold on. But then I'm still putting if I have a mulligan.
Yeah. What tournament, Paul?
I'll take USDGC, Paul. Thanks.
That's fair.
Yeah, no kidding.
You don't want
honestly though
Music City, Paul, but USDGC
honestly
Paul is absurd.
Yeah, maybe so. Honestly, I'll take Worlds Paul too.
Yeah,
Worlds Paul put it insane.
You put it very well.
Oh yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Bobby. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So let's move on to the next section. What we haven't given an official name, but it's what are we working on? What are you working on? Actually, we had asked this question of our audience, and we actually got an answer in from Isaac. He says he's going to sleep rather than starting something new late at night. That's so
big time.
Perfect. That's a great positive habit. I know that what I've done on my phone is in fact, you can see it right now. It says good evening. Bedtime is set. So what it does is I have a bedtime set to where it actually shuts off my social media at a certain time so that I know I can't check social media. And it just
is this a parent filter on your own phone?
I mean, you can do that.
Are you parent controlling your phone?
There's a feature called screen time. It's not a parent thing.
It's a parent filter for sure.
Anyway, I'm parenting myself so that my brain will wind down before the end of the night so that I'm not checking social media right before I go to bed.
It's a very, very good thing. Yeah, I make jokes, but it is important.
Yeah.
All right. So what else are you guys working on?
I'll go. So Oakley and I talked about running a while ago, when he had just started running. And, as we talked about last week, after we had Owen, before we had Owen, I had lost very much weight, not on purpose. And then after we had him, I started eating crappy and stopped exercising. And what do you know? Nice. I gained weight.
Dang. I wish that wouldn't have happened.
It happens. So, I figured that running would be, for me, an easy way to stay active. That's like kind of low commitment. I don't have to drive to a gym to do it. I can just step outside my house and start going. Yeah. So I've been doing that now for probably 2 or 2.5 months. And it's been really cool to see just progress of like how much longer I can run, how much faster I can do each mile or whatever, like getting into where I'm getting negative splits most times, where I start a little bit slower and then each subsequent mile is faster. So yeah, that's what I've been working on, is just staying up on running and really asking, like Bobby, we talked about atomic habits, asking like, what would a runner do? And then doing that thing. So I set my clothes out the night before: socks, shorts, shirt, hat, shoes, everything. I download whatever guided run I'm going to listen to on my watch the night before. So it is as convenient as it's ever going to be when I wake up in the morning to go run. It will never be easier to do than all of the work that I've done before. So that's what I've been working on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a question that I often have to ask myself when I think about certain goals, and that what would the person I want to be do the thing I'm about to do, right? What is the person I want to be? I want to be the person in shape, healthy, able to play with my grandkids when I'm 80 years old. What would that person do the thing I'm about to do? They'd eat better, they'd exercise, they'd take care of themselves, they'd get better sleep. And so that's a question you can ask. If you have to ask yourself every day in the mirror, ask yourself that question. What would the person I want to be do the thing I'm about to do?
Wait, can you say that again?
What would the person I want to be do the thing I'm about to do?
How would the person I want to be do the thing
How would the person...
I was sorry. I wasn't following. I'm with you.
How would a Disc Golf Answerman show exist if Robert was
without me? That wasn't an intentional correction this time. I promise I was trying to catch on. Okay.
No, that's a good correction. I need that
on with
correct. It. And then real quick, I just love what you mentioned about putting your stuff out for the next day. And there's actually a term that a lot of people might find helpful. Sorry, I have this in my brain and I got to get it out.
Yeah, let's get it.
It's called habit. It's called habit stacking. In other words, you already have certain habits, right? You get ready for bed, you brush your teeth, you may have your your little cup of tea, whatever little routine that's already been in part of your life for the longest time. Basically, that's what a habit is. It becomes like a routine, a habit. So if you stack another habit, like Robert in a sense could, every time he brushes his teeth, he knows he grabs his running shoes and his running clothes and puts it out. And so that becomes stacked with a habit you already do, and then it becomes a habit in itself.
Awesome.
I dig it.
I'm still running. I haven't, once I get home in the next day or two, I'll kind of have a better idea of what my next plan will be, but I do plan on incorporating some exercises along with my running. So instead of the 10 to 15 minutes of a run, it's going to be more like a 35, 40 minutes of a run plus a small workout to every single one. I also plan on working on some throwing after a week or so of being home. And I think a big part is working on the future schedule for 2022 and what that looks like. I plan on running some events a lot more this upcoming season to get back into that as the world is less crappy. So I think that's going to be a really big part of the things that I will be working on. But I'm running every single day, got my run in, even got my run in last night, late night after we woke up. I woke up feeling awful, checked out of the Airbnb, went to, drove to Target, got some stuff for going on a float, did a 4.5 or 4.5 mile float that took way too long, and like had to like kick and paddle in a tiny blow up raft because the river was not moving very fast. So got extra workout there, then went to Kyle Deck's house for dinner, didn't get home until like 10 o'clock, and was like, I have one thing I need to do right now. It was go on a run. It was like, I have to run. I've gotten to that point where it's like, it would have been very easy to just, oh, no, I'm good.
I missed it.
Sleep. Yeah. But I mean, we're at like 168 days I think today was 168. This is everything. This is a part of my routine, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And for me, it started as I needed to have those habits. Now it is something that I have to do every single day, and it does not matter when I do it. If it's morning or if it's afternoon or if it's late at night, it happens. And I think that I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. And again, on those days where it is late and I've had a long day, 10 minutes of running, 1 minute warm up, 10 minutes of running. Once my timer says 11 minutes, I stop and start my cool down and focus on my heart rate and get my heart rate low. Because that's part of why I'm running as well, is to work on being able to take my heart rate from a high stress situation like running or missing a birdie putt and watching it roll away and getting in these moments, but then being able to bring it back down to be able to perform and get back into it. So that's a big part of the focus as well.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Thank you to our YouTube viewers. Please make sure you are subscribed. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you share this out to our audio listeners. Please be subscribed so you can check out all our interviews coming up. I got Drew Gibson, Hannah Macbeth. I got Phil. I'll learn his name, how to pronounce his last name when I interview him. Anyway, we got a lot of interviews. I'm reaching out to a few other people to do some interviews. Also, a big thank you to Dort Disc for sponsoring this episode. Make sure you show them some love by checking out their online store at dortdisc.com. Use code DGAM at checkout for free shipping. That's just spelled DGAM. Just want to make sure that people understand.
I thought you were going to spell the URL.
Anyway, check that out.
HTTP.
Yeah, colon.
There's been some audiobooks that do that. I'm like, really?
Yeah. I actually get it. It's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, also, if you want to show some love and support the show, doing this on my own since leaving Dynamic Disc. So show some love. Patreon.com/D. I'm spelling it out again for you. DGAM. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next.